Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we got some news to talk about. The Democratic Party cannot go this low. I mean, seriously, but it has. And when a party has gone this low, I personally think there is absolutely no coming back. We've seen the collapse of political parties from the Federalist Party to the Whig Party. I mentioned those political parties a couple of videos ago. The Federalist Party collapsed because they could not recover from the election of 1816, in which James Monroe blew out Rufus King by 60% of the popular vote, a landslide, ideally. Um, and the Federalist parties became a stigma. They've been known as the party of high taxes, the party of a national bank. It wasn't really that popular. There was also, it was seen as a very authoritarian party. It was seen as the party of rich, uh, wealthy Bostonians and New Englanders, and a country that got out of the Revolutionary War, majority of people, that's the last thing you want to affiliate with. We've been complaining about how Britain was rich and too powerful, and then you have Federalists, which are rich and wealthy, that wanted to impose taxes on the middle class, yada yada. And then obviously they struggled, and the election of 1816 was the last straw. Then there was the Whig Party, which could not gain momentum back from the election of 1852, in which a very popular general, Winfield Scott, was defeated handingly by a no-namer Democrat named Franklin Pierce. He was a dark horse. No one knew who he was, and he defeated Scott. The Whigs were confident that they were going to win victory, similar to how it was Zachary Taylor won victory because of his name recognition in the Mexican-American War. The thing about Winfield Scott is that he fought in multiple wars. He fought in the Indian Wars, he fought in the War of 1812, and he fought in the Mexican-American War. So he was a multi general, and here he was defeated by this politician, new Democrat from New Hampshire. Now, no one ever even heard about Franklin Pierce in a landslide. So this kind of discouraged the Whig Party. They lost momentum after that, and the issue of slavery kind of fizzled it out. More Northerners in the Whig Party, specifically in New England, were more mobilized against slavery. That divided the Whig Party in Kentucky and Tennessee, strong Whig strongholds that supported slavery, and they collapsed. So and it looks like the Democratic Party could possibly be the third major political party to collapse. And what would this mean? It would mean Republicans would be the sole political party. Okay, we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves. Only in one period in American history was the United States a one-party system, and that was the era of good feelings, where the Democratic Republican Party controlled the country for 8 years until the rise of the Andrew Jackson's Democratic Party. But we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves. The Democratic Party is imploding like never before. Republicans can rest assured that Democrats are in no position to be any threat to Republican majorities in Congress. The party has become so ignorant, more ignorant than they were before the Civil War. They lack strong masculine leadership, and every month more men are leaving the party in droves. The party is becoming too feminine, and men are being picked on for being a part of the feminist women club, which is the Democratic Party. Today, an NBC poll showed that Democrats only have 7% of strong favorability from average Americans, meaning, okay, their approval rating, to clarify, is not at 7%, but I'm talking about the strongly approve. Like, for instance, like the strong, like it's the best party ever. Only 7% of Americans say it's the best party, or have some sort of favorability towards it. In general, in all favorability adding up, the party has an average approval rating of 29%, as more polls that traditionally of the Democrats in the mid 40s are now down in the 30s and in the mid 20s. So they're collapsing because we had some events, like, I don't honestly think it was of course, the address to Congress played a huge role. Honestly, I think Democrats were screwed regardless of their behavior at the night. Trump literally bombshelled the Democrats by reading the receipts of the heinous, wasteful spending that Democrats have performed for the last 4 years, and that outraged Americans. And this obviously has led us to the birth of a movement called the Walk Away movement. It's a viral movement that you have former Democrats walking away from the Democratic Party. Now, a lot of these Democrats are center left. Some of them are probably becoming independent. A lot are saying they will never vote Democrat again. And here are a couple clips of this Walk Away campaign, which has gained tons of momentum in the last couple days, especially after the joint address to Congress, in which Democrats were disgusted that their heroes, the people that they elected, they paid to get into Congress, refused to actually stand for them when they needed it. So here's probably the first one. I'm just going to play a couple clips because I honestly think they're amazing. First one, this is the most recent one.
I'm late to the party per usual. Nothing new about that. However, anyways, I just wanted to hop on here real quick. I just saw a TikTok about the hashtag walk away movement, and I had never heard of that or seen anything about it until today. And it's basically where a vast majority of the left party is walking away from that party, because I think that we can all agree that the Democratic Party is no longer what it used to be. It is completely out of hand. Is complete and utter chaos now. It's not what's the word? It's not a political party that is solid or consistent. It's just complete and utter chaos nowadays. And because of that, people are leaving that party. Hashtag walk away.
Yeah, because obviously, here's the thing. The Democratic Party has become a stigma. Because, the word toxicity. Toxic behavior is not liked and not stand for. And the Democratic Party, by fact, is toxic. When you call white women cockroaches, and you literally, women from Congress, go on very racist rants about white people and about their constituencies and their districts being too white. Can you imagine a Republican? It could be a white, male, straight Republican, and saying how many, there's too many black people in my district. There's just too many. Like, that's a problem. That's a huge burden to you. Would you imagine the anger towards the left? But the role, this isn't any different. But to the left, it's okay to do it towards white people, because white people, they're on top of the pyramid. That's how they think of it. Republicans and normal people, say hate is hate. Democrats, they're not like that. Hate is only if you're hating towards a minority group. If you hate someone like Trump or a white man, then it's not hate. It's obviously they deserve it because they're white, they're privileged, and they need some suffering. This is their logic, and that's not right. That's pure toxicity. And obviously the Democratic Party, it's crazy how in a matter of decades, it went from Bill Clinton, who really was supportive of getting rid of waste, fraud, and corruption from government. He was sort of like that American First agenda. Then again, he had a lot of support from rural areas. Like, take a look here. I'm going to pull up the map of 1992. Let's see. Counties that Bill Clinton won. These are Democrat. And then again, Bill Clinton actually, fun fact, the last time Democrats won a majority of counties was 1976. Bill Clinton did not win a majority of counties either in 1992 and 1996, although he was super close. You'll see rural areas, Iowa, farming land, and Arkansas, deep, solid Arkansas, which traditionally was pretty Republican, very conservative, going in for Bill Clinton because Bill Clinton was seen as a masculine leader. Is he more masculine right now? Yeah, when you get older, you lose testosterone, and I would think he is running low on testosterone, but he was viewed as a lot of men related to him, especially men from rural areas, in which Democrats are struggling most in, because a lot of these men in rural areas are religious, and they feel that the Democratic Party is out of reach with people of religion, and so they have. Literally, they're campaigning against, they're demonizing white Christian evangelical men, and that's not going to suit well with white evangelical men and white evangelical women. It's just, you're demonizing Christianity, and the Christians will come out at you at mass. So yeah, it's crazy, because this is not the map of today. This was 1992, and of course Clinton showed a better performance in 1996. I mean, Ross Perot wasn't as strong of a candidate. Sure, in the middle, over here in the Great Plains, Bob Dole is from Kansas, so he flipped a couple counties in the West, but otherwise, like in Minnesota and Wisconsin, you're seeing a lot of men, a lot of Christians, men. You're seeing a lot of rural voters. And take a look at today's map. Obviously, it's changed. It went from that in a matter of, from the 90s all the way to 2024. And the 90s wasn't as long away. Wasn't that long away. Wasn't that long ago. Look at this. All these Clinton areas, a lot of them are like 90%, 80%, 70% for Trump. This is pretty much the map, and it looks like Republicans are gaining more counties because more precincts, because more men, and Democrats, they can't win elections without men. That's the truth. Sorry. Democrats, they say, oh, women are so strong. Women, they're fighters. Yeah, we're not arguing that. We're not saying women are incompetent, but you can't win elections with just the women. And not to mention, women don't like you either. A lot of the women also, I believe it was this lady. She was a lady, and she called you out. It's toxic. A lot of people just don't like toxic parties, toxic movements. You have this guy reacting to the address. He's a former Democrat. I don't know if he's an independent or he's probably a Republican, but this is his reaction to after the address.
Democrats ought to be ashamed of yourself. Now, I generally stay away from politics, but the conduct that I saw last night from the Democratic side of the House of Representatives was reprehensible. Little boy who survived brain cancer, and he gets honored. And what do? Y'all sit with your hands under your legs to keep from clapping. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on. When a little boy or a child or anybody gets honored like that, you give them the accolades they deserve. You ought to be ashamed. I'm ashamed that I was ever a part of the Democratic Party. I used to be. A long time ago, I was a registered Democrat. What y'all did last night just made my stomach churn. Regardless, I love all of you. I truly do. Some of you need to straighten the hell up.
Yeah, I mean, this is normal people taking to online, and like that guy clearly said, I don't talk about politics. This guy's not a political guy, and these normal everyday people are willing to get backlash, risk their whole channel. Like, a massive withdrawal. They don't care. They care about standing up for what is right. And that's really what matters. Let's see this lady.
How bizarre. How bizarre.
Yes, it's saying it's the complete opposite. Walk away movement is trending. The Democrats are literally sinking their own ship. And yeah, and here's the fun fact. Guys, January 6th was horrible. Horrible. I can't think of any day. If there's any day I could skip in my whole life, it'd be January 6th. Because I felt so horrible. I felt so horrible and ashamed that I felt guilty. It was hard being a Republican. It was hard seeing the footage of that Capitol being vandalized. I called out those people that performed the acts of violence. I do not think they were fighting for our party and fighting for our country. I think they made it much harder. And a lot of people were saying, okay, where's the Republican Party going now? 4 years later, look at this party. During January 6th, they didn't have a walk-away movement. Sure, the only person that walked away was Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. And no one likes them. Liz Cheney can take her butt and walk away and everyone would be clapping. No one would follow her out. She joined the stupid January 6th committee, the only Republican on the committee. That shows a lot. But I think most Americans knew during January 6th, hey, look, yeah, it was ugly. But are we saying the left is actually the good guys here? The left? The party that knelt for rioters, that burnt down over 20 cities, killed over 30 policemen, and causing millions of dollars in property damages? Are we saying the left? The party that protested and threatened to kill a Supreme Court justice over the future of their precious Roe v. Wade? Are we saying the left? The party that has pro-terrorist sympathizers is better? The right committed one act of violence at the Capitol that lasted, 1 to 2 hours. Come on. That says a lot to the whole entire summer of 2020 and the summer of 2022 with the Roe v. Wade riots. In 2023 and 2024 with the pro-Palestine riots. And now we have this with the anti-Doge riots, lighting up Teslas on fire. This is nowhere near in competition with the left. The left will always be the party of violence. This is the left. I mean, guys, think about it. The left was born out of the blood of the French Revolution. The heads that snapped and fell into the baskets because they were decapitated by the guillotine. They did it out of hate. This is the left. Decapitated a whole bunch of Parisans. The left in Haiti slaves, and although they shouldn't have been enslaved, two wrongs don't make a right. These slaves ran by that killer, Laurent Louverture, decapitated, sliced the heads off of their slave masters, and paraded them around the streets of Haiti, which was formerly known as Saint-Domingue. That's the left. Hate. Then you get the Russian Civil War. You have the Russians, Bolsheviks, shooting and killing a 13-year-old boy, his father, Tsar Nicholas II, and his sisters. That's the left. Then you have China, Mao Zedong, burying Christians, Buddhists, Tibetans, Vietnamese alive because they dare not bow down to the most powerful ever, the CCP. That's the left. Then you have Cambodia. Pol Pot, during his Khmer Rouge, commits the Cambodian genocide, annihilating all of those who he thinks are his political opponents. That's the left. Then you have the Kim regime, who kills anyone that dare sneaks out of the country or comes in the country or dare speaks out against the regime. Not only do they kill that person, but they kill the 3 generations that are behind and following. That's the left. This is the left. They are violent creatures. They want to say how violent the right is. Guys, come on. The only thing I can think about the right when the right was really violent was World War II. And then again, the World War II ideologies were created by socialism. Like, it's called National Socialism. That's Nazism. Before it was called Nazism, it was called National Socialism because it was a sect of socialism. Benito Mussolini used to be a socialist. How did he become a fascist? Sect of socialism. I'm telling you. And the left back then is no different than the left right now. They are more emotional now. The left during the French Revolution where they praised the god of common sense. Now they threw common sense out. And they are the party of emotions, weird men, low testosterone men in general, high calorie women, emotional women. It's just that in general. I think we should finish up with one video since that one was just a text.
You couldn't pay me to be a liberal again. You couldn't do it. After watching that speech, I am convinced that Democrats hate America. The way that they didn't stand for Laken Riley's mother, the way that they didn't stand for that little boy who has brain cancer, the way that they didn't stand for that young man who got accepted into West Point. Are you with me on this? The way that they hate America. My God.
Yeah, and this lady's absolutely correct. I mean, they do hate America. I mean, they are literally cheering on Europe, they're cheering on Canada, they're cheering on Mexico, and they're justifying the countries ripping us off. They are against the country succeeding in economic success. They want us to keep the inflation going. They want the Ukraine war to keep going. They want gas prices to go up. They want egg prices to go up. They are excited and happy to see the stock market crash. And they sound so devastated. No, this is an act. They're actually really, really happy. We know this plague book. And it's now obvious more than ever. You don't go from 4 years ago trying to cover up inflation, then trying to shove it all us in your face. Look at all the inflation. Look at these charts. Look at the stock market chart. While they clearly didn't show us that during the Biden administration. This is the Democratic Party. They hate America. They love their party, but they hate America. And honestly, there's a reason why the party has 29% approval rating. I think over the walk away movement really generated mainly because of the address to Congress and how, Democrats just were so bad. I mean, the walk away movement wouldn't have gotten this big if Democrats would have just stood up and just applauded the kid with cancer and applauded Laken Riley's mother and Jocelyn Nungroy's mother and the kid from West Point. They could have just, and then this would have been not, the walk away campaign would have not have been this big. It's big, trust me. Sure, it has 240K subscribers. Yeah, this just in, I don't know, 2 weeks. It was founded by a former liberal, Brandon Straka, and provided a place to share walk away, testimonials, and personal journeys to freedom. The hashtag walk away campaign is a movement of patriots from all walks of life: men, women, black, brown, white, LGBTQ, religious, and non-believers who share something very important in common. And now this isn't a right-wing movement, obviously. It doesn't look like it's a right-wing movement, especially when they add LGBT. It's just common sense, normal people movement. And I think walk away movement's trying to recreate the Democratic Party back to what it was in the 90s. Common sense. Okay? Common sense party. Period. So right now, Democrats, it doesn't matter what Donald Trump does, how popular Donald Trump is, how unpopular Donald Trump is. The fact is, Democrats are screwed in so many ways. They're screwed with the masculine leadership. They have zero masculine leadership. We need strong, non-emotional men, because strong, non-emotional men will show other strong men, masculine men in general, that, hey, look, we're not. Emotional men are feminine, period. Tim Walz, a feminine man. You have David Hogg, feminine man. You have a grown man crying in public. You're most likely low testosterone. Well, I don't know. I'm not in the place to say that. But then again, you don't look strong if you cry in public. And out of reason, I mean, if you lost your mom, that's expected, obviously. But when you cry because, it's just hilarious because it was this video from Greg Foreman. This guy literally teary-eyed after one Trump advisor asked him a question. Hey, why does Vladimir Zelensky? Hey, why don't you wear a suit? And this guy breaks down in tears. His country's being invaded, and U.S., you have the dignity to say, why did he wear your suit? Well, we're giving him so much money. Why can't he buy himself a suit? Just general question. I'm sure Trump would be willing to pay for you to have a suit. But this is low testosterone men and that are in the Democrat Party, and they're not showing other men, helping other men understand that, hey, this party's best in our interests. They're not showing that. In fact, this party's become such a stigma. It's a party of toxic, low testosterone men, very toxic women, and rich, big government elitists that really don't care what they do with your money. This is the Democrat Party. This is what they have become. And a lot of people say, oh, Democrats, they have a chance in winning midterms. Well,
You couldn't pay me to be.
yeah, we just talked about that. But we're talking, let's see, we specifically have to talk low. Because Democratic Party approval rating. Okay, so we have New York Magazine. They were saying, yet making 2026 gains. 2026 gains where? First of all, they have zero clarification. Are you thinking about the House? I would assume if it's the House of Representatives, I would agree with that. Because Republicans, they really... I think this would be the first time ever where, like, it's a gamble for us to carry the House. We have such a slim majority in the House of Representatives. And sure, we just need to keep the 2 seats. We can't let Democrats gain a net worth. Let's see what do they need? Yeah, seats needed. Okay, this it seems Democrats. Here's the thing, though. We're gonna have 2 special elections this year. Assumingly, 2025. Those are probably going to be Democrat seats. Because, as you know, they're solid. The one in Houston and the one in Tucson. So, yeah, as of right now, they need 5 seats. Republicans just have the majority. Just 1. Last election, we lost 2 because Byron Donalds. I don't know if... Yeah, you got a couple seats here. You got this one right here. Oh, yeah. This is... You got... Yeah, forgot his name. But... Yeah, you got the congressman from 1st District, who was originally going to be the Secretary of Defense, but dropped out because the rhinos and Democrats were just so sulky. Yeah, the Republican, got 2 Republicans in Florida that opted out. That's bringing them Republicans at 218. So right now, it's a gamble because you have 218, and I assume that really it would be back to the same numbers. 220, because really these are solid Republican districts. And yeah, so ideally Republicans just need to hold their majority of 2, try to expand. Do they have opportunities to expand? Definitely. I mean, we were very close when it came to winning this district in Ohio, as well as flipping North Carolina 1. We could possibly carry North Carolina 1, maybe pick up some seats in New York accordingly if Kathy Hochul is going to do a reverse cocktail effect in which Republicans would gain because of her. California, the stigma against California Democrats could continue. We could be taking back these 2 seats. Everything's up in the air, but I'm telling you, it's not going to be a blue wave. Nope. No, it's going to be very similar to 2022, where, you know what, ideally, personally, I don't think regardless, I think the party was just, the country is just too divided. We're not going to see a 2018 or a 2014. That's done, because Democrats, in order to do a 2018, they need their rural areas. Look at 2018. House of Representatives, yeah, you see Minnesota 7, big Republican districts, Democrat. You got Iowa, most Iowa is blue. You got rural Arizona. You get what I'm saying. You got this area here. So these districts, and ideally Democrats, yeah, they expanded a lot because they did better in rural areas, even in Utah. But that's not going to be the case. Even if they win the House, it's not going to be by a lot. And it's not going to be a mandate. The Republicans, ultimately, their year is going to be determined on how well they do in expanding the Senate. You have huge opportunities in regards to their expansions in New Hampshire. You got Chris Sununu, who's looking like he's going to run. Annie Kuster has expressed her run, which would be kind of interesting. You got the 2026 race in Michigan. We're going to see if it looks like Pete Buttigieg is backed out. Mike Rogers is actually pending his announcement for this run. But yeah, we have a lot of opportunities, and even flipping Georgia also, it looks like, by hypothetical, a generic Republican is tied with Ossoff, giving hopes into belief that, hey, maybe this January 2025 poll showing Brad Raffensperger beating John Ossoff beating Brad Raffensperger is just a dud, or these other polls. But generally, Ossoff is pretty popular. It really does depend, but Brian Kemp is way more popular than Ossoff, and honestly, I would like to see him run, and a lot of Republicans are really hoping he runs. But he has not expressed any interest yet. But anyway, the Democratic Party is imploding, and we got to let it implode. It's the best interest for the country. When your enemy is imploding, hey, let them implode. I mean, seriously, if your enemy is making a mistake, don't interrupt him. Don't interrupt him. In fact, encourage you. Yes, Democrats, you should fight for trans people. You should fight for trans people to be in women's locker rooms. You should fight for trans people to be in women's sports. Yes, you should interrupt the president's speech during his inaugural address. Ideally, I don't support that behavior. Absolutely not. And I think it's disgusting. Maybe in terms I would be against it. But hey, look, your enemy makes a mistake. Don't interrupt them. So that's the lesson of the day. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. And as always, see you all in the next political episode.